Welcome all, and thank you for the kind introduction. And my talk is on a little bit a different aspect, that is from the preclinical aspect of Ayurvedic research. Because many times when PG scholars come to our institution, and what they are most interested in is for taking as a research subject would be something that they can do in their lab without any junket. Now, this has created many works that came out of many labs. But when you look at the outcome of such works, it is very, very low. So let me begin with the process of research, which is a universal one and which is binding to all types of research beyond boundaries of subject or linearity. So these processes are very much essential for any research process. And everything that will follow these guidelines will come under the purview of research. So that is why there is a commonality between all people from different streams who pursue research by considering all these points. Now, when we come to the preclinical trials, we have a different aspect where there is a identification of a drug target. We had a development of a bioassay, and we have developing many screening assays for, or we are screening the drugs through this assay, and we have got to establish a very effective toxic doses and effective doses, and we have to initiate the approval process, and then it comes out as a drug and so on. Now, when we come to preclinical trials, there is a big two groups. That is, one is the in vitro and in vivo studies. And we all know the prerequisites of all these studies and what they do. But the thing is that, even when we say that they have many things to contribute to our science or any science for that matter, but the outcomes are really being a little bit distorted when it comes to Ayurveda in a sense. Now, we can say that in vitro studies, that it has got many advantages. That is, we can say, for example, it is a cell study, we can directly expose the cells to the agent. We can manipulate the environmental components, and we can evaluate the cell response to the particular chemical, etc. And it has got certain limitations as well when the chemical properties influencing the bioavailability of the drug, because it is directly being applied onto the tissues. We have got the direct chemical interactions altering the culture conditions in the Petri dish. There is a lack of in vivo chemical disposition factors. There is a lack of in vivo chemical metabolism and a lack of in vivo filtering mechanisms as the drug is being delivered to the site. So these are some of the limitations when it comes to in vitro studies. And when it comes to the importance of in vivo studies, these two goes hand in hand. So I'm dealing it with together. So it is being highly used for screening in isolated organs, animal models, confirmatory mechanism of action. There are different types of studies are being involved in vivo screen. Even when it is also having certain advantages and disadvantages. The advantages being that we can detect the host-mediated activity. It is somewhat we can predict the action of that particular agent. We can estimate the therapeutic ratios and so on. And it has got some disadvantages also, like low sensitivity. And most of the preclinical trials, including the animal trials, are very costly, time consuming, and it will be very difficult to manage when there is large groups of animals are involved. So these two are the principal areas in which many of the works are being conducted in many of the biological fields. But they have got some limitations as when it comes to the generalizability. Now, as in the modern parlance, when we do the drug discovery trials, we start up with thousands of molecules, and we streamline, and come out with one molecule which is being marketed as a drug. Now, this is a very time-consuming task, as well as it is very, very, very tedious and not at all cost-effective. Now, in that sense, whatever the results that are coming out of all these studies, when in the published or unpublished ones, the fundamentals of the Ayurveda still remains unexplained in many instances. Biochemical activity of drugs being studied, and so what? the question is never answered in many of the papers that are being published, even in very good journals. Now, here comes the role of translational research. Now, we invented the term of translational research, where findings from the basic science is used to enhance the human health and well-being. Now, in this particular types of research, the findings in the basic research are not just translated into medical practice, but we are creating a background to interpret these findings that we using the modern technologies and when applying it into the field of Ayurveda. Now, translation is intended not to accommodate Ayurveda into modern scientific platforms, but it translates to powerful applications of the science. And this aspect needs to be highlighted when it comes to translational research. Now, we create, as in the modern medical parlance, we say that from a single molecule-centric approach, wherein which we use in the many modern pharmacological methods, we need a paradigm shift to multiple molecules targeting multiple targets. Now, from this, we need to find out what is the net effect of these entire molecules, the set of molecules on the living system, and what it is actually doing, how we translate that into our science or in the parlance of our science. So researchers must focus on unraveling these more complex molecular interactions. Now, there are many methods that are being utilized for this, and one among them is the systems biology or the systems modeling, wherein which the it is extensively now used in biomedical research to understanding the larger picture of the changes occurring inside the body. Not from a single metabolic pathway that we look for the entire pathway system, the network of systems from which we can understand. Now, these types of approach actually goes very much closer to the principles of Ayurveda, because these are some of the theories that we have to put forth and investigate upon to come out with new findings. Now, the next aspect is on the contributions of the omic sciences, like genomics, transcriptomics, proteomics, and metabolomics, which can highly contribute into the field of Ayurveda when coming to knowing the how they are going to interact with our body. Now, for this, we are actually using many tools from bioinformatics, which is a multidisciplinary, interrelated disciplines, which comes into play for helping the unanswered questions and mysteries of life. Now, ever since the completion of the Human Genome Project by 2003, 2005, we know that the omics groups of studies have become very, very, very prominent. And on the basis of this, we have many different studies have been coming up, like in the field of drug discovery, where we are utilizing in silico studies for drug discovery. And we are looking for computer modulated softwares for assessing the drug likeness of a molecule against a protein target. Here we have shown an example of curcumin for its antihistaminic property. As you see on the right is the structure of the protein structure of the histamine receptor. And this technology that we use is the molecular docking studies, which is very highly being utilized nowadays, especially in the COVID-19 situation, where many publications, very effective, very good publications in the field of herbal medicine came up utilizing the molecular docking studies. Okay, so this is how, by the use of many powerful softwares, we can modulate and we can dock how this particular molecule will be docking inside the molecule, and how a perfect fit for a drug can be modeled. And we can know the amino acid residues onto which this particular drug will bond, and then binding energy, etc., can be sought out from this. It's just shown for the information. So this is a very good study, I would say it is a breakthrough study that came out from the field of Ayurveda. The genome-wide analysis correlates Ayurveda Prakriti. And this paper can be considered as a milestone work in the field of Ayurveda, especially towards the personalized medicine, as we have established very good genome-wide this single nucleotide polymorphism with Prakriti, basis of Prakriti and all. So this can be considered as a one step closer to personalized medicine as we are moving towards the closer medicine, and entire medical systems throughout the world is also moving that. So I am concluding my presentation with some of the more sophisticated newer technologies like microarray, which can play a very good role in establishing the roles of Ayurveda in a system approach, not in a system approach. So I conclude the presentation by saying that the translation of disease and treatment philosophy in terms of recent findings of the omics level of research may develop novel strategies to discover drugs and combinations of drugs against diseases. And the newer technologies, as we see now in the in silico modeling and all, are very closer to the fundamentals of Ayurveda in showcasing the results to a modern platform. And it should be very cautioned that all new technologies incorporated into research must not tamper the fundamental principles and philosophy of Ayurveda. Thank you all for your patient listening.